Humanity never forgets a favor, and their return changed everything. The fleet arrived without warning, and every enemy ship in orbit shut down at once. Not damaged, not destroyed, disabled. 50,000 warships, silent, drifting, powerless, as something vast and human emerged from the dark between stars. No one fired. No one dared. Because everyone knew. Humanity had returned, and they had chosen a side. 3 cycles earlier, no one would have believed it possible. Humanity was gone. Not extinct. Not defeated. Gone. Their systems abandoned, their stations empty, their fleets vanished into deep space with no explanation. The galaxy searched for decades, then centuries. Nothing. No signals. No sightings, just silence. Some called it extinction, others called it ascension, but most simply, moved on, until the war began. The Dravari dominion expanded fast and without mercy. Entire civilizations fell in weeks. Their fleets were relentless, their tactics brutal, their technology overwhelming. Resistance crumbled, all except one. The small, unremarkable Cathari Union. They were not powerful, not advanced, not even unified for most of their history. But when the Dravari came, they did something unexpected. They stood, planet after planet fell. But the Cathari did not surrender. They evacuated civilians, delayed invasions, sacrificed entire fleets, just to buy time for others to escape. And in their darkest moment, they made a decision no one understood. They sent a signal, not to allies, not to the Council, to empty space, to coordinates long abandoned, coordinates that once belonged to humanity. This is Cathari Prime, the message repeated. We remember. Nothing happened for days. Nothing. The Dravari advanced, orbital defenses failed, ground forces collapsed, the final assault began, and then the stars changed. At first it looked like distortion, a flicker in the void, a glitch in reality itself. Then the fleet appeared. Not arriving, not warping, appearing. Massive human warships materialized across the system, their hulls dark, angular, impossibly vast. Thousands of them forming a wall between the Dravari armada and the last surviving Cathari world. No signals, no warnings, just presence. And then, every Dravari system went dead. Weapons offline, engines unresponsive, communications severed. 50,000 ships, reduced to drifting metal. Panic spread instantly. What is happening? Dravari commanders shouted across silent bridges. No one answered, because something else had begun. Human vessels moved forward, slow, deliberate, unstoppable. They didn't fire, didn't need to. The Dravari fleet was already defeated. What are they doing? A Cathari officer whispered, watching from the surface. The answer came moments later. Human boarding craft deployed, sleek, efficient, precise. They attached to Dravari ships one by one, not destroying them, taking them. Hours passed. Then, the first. Dravari vessel powered on again, but it did not rejoin its fleet. It turned and fired on its own kind. Shock rippled across the battlefield. They're repurposing them, someone whispered. One by one, captured ships awakened, now under human control. The balance shifted instantly. The Dravari, once overwhelming, were now surrounded, outmaneuvered, outmatched, outplayed. And then the humans spoke. Single transmission, broadcast across the system. This debt is acknowledged. The Cathari leadership stared at the message, confusion mixing with awe. Debt? Their leader asked. What debt? The answer came not in words, but in memory. Archived records unlocked themselves across Cathari networks. Ancient files. Centuries. Old, a time when humanity was still young among the stars. A time when they were vulnerable, struggling, alone. One entry stood above the rest, a single Cathari supply ship, diverting course during a famine crisis, delivering aid to a human colony that should have been abandoned. No alliance, no reward, just a choice, a simple act of compassion, forgotten by history, remembered by humanity. They never said thank you, a Cathari elder whispered. No, the leader replied, watching the battle unfold above. They remembered instead. The war ended that day, not with a final battle, but with a collapse. The Dravari fleet, once unstoppable, dismantled piece by piece, some destroyed, others turned, all defeated. And when it was over, the human fleet remained, hovering above Cathari, prime. Silent, watching, waiting, the Cathari leader stood on the surface, staring up at the impossible ships. What do we do? An advisor asked. The leader took a breath, then sent a message. We remember too. For a moment, nothing happened. Then one human ship descended. Not aggressively, not defensively, gently. It landed beyond the capital city, its massive form settling into the earth like it had always belonged there. A single figure emerged, human, unarmed, calm. The leader approached cautiously. You saved us, they said. The humans shook their heads slightly. No, they replied. We repaid a kindness. Silence stretched between them. You crossed the galaxy. For that? The leader asked. The human's gaze lifted toward the stars. For you, it was a moment, they said. For us, it was survival. The Cathari understood then. Humanity did not forget. Not war, not betrayal, not kindness. Nothing. What happens now? The leader asked quietly. The humans smiled faintly. Now, they said. Now we remember who helped and who didn't. Above them, the fleet shifted, not leaving, not dispersing, positioning, watching the wider galaxy, and across distant systems, those who had stood by, who had ignored the Cathari's call, began to realize something terrifying. Humanity had returned. Not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as something far more dangerous. Arbiters, of memory, of debt, of consequence. And as word spread, a final message echoed through every corner of known space. Humanity does not forget. Not your enemies, not your actions, not your choices. So when they arrive at your world, you better hope they remember you kindly.